Okay, welcome to the final video in us building authentication with Express. So in this last video, what we need to do is create middleware that checks for authentication. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I usually create a separate auth folder, okay, for this auth middleware. Okay, and I'm just going to create a file called index.js in there. So that way I can just import the folder. And in here, what do I need to bring in? I do need to bring in JWT. So const JWT equals require JSON web token. I think that's kind of going to be the only thing I need. Okay, and that's that. Now essentially, again, your function signature for middleware is always the same. So we're going to call this const auth equals, it's always a function that takes in request, request, response, and a function called next. Because the idea is that it knows when this middleware, it knows to go to the next piece of middleware because of the next function. You never write next in your routes because generally that's the end of the story, but you could add next when you're writing your routes in Express if you wanted to have something happen afterwards, but then technically it wouldn't be a route anymore, it would be middleware because it's still in the middle between the beginning and the end. Okay, and here we go. So what we want this middleware to do is that we're going to assume that they're going to send the token as part of a header, because the convention is you send a header. Okay, so the convention is someone sends a authorization header, so they'll, and then that authorization header will have a string that says bearer and then, the token. So what we want to do is check to see if this authorization header exists and then parse this string to get this token. And once we do that, then we can actually go verify the token. So first step is to first let's do if rec.headers.authorization. So only if there was no authorization header, it's going to be undefined. So it'll just fail. Okay, so then we'll just say, and then so that case else, then we send res.status.400 400.json error the no auth header, no authorization header. Okay, so that doesn't exist if that I always forget if it's headers or headers, but we'll find that out along the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do, pretty sure it is headers because there should be multiple of them. Okay, so now once we have established that there is a header, the next thing we need to do is const part. We're going to be const the token. We're going to take rec.headers.authorization, which is a string. We're going to split that string by a space that'll separate the word bearer. So it'll separate this as one thing in an array, and this will be the second thing in the array. So then that returns an array, so we're going to want to access the second thing in that array. And so that will return just the token into this variable. Now that we have that, this makes me realize we're going to need our environmental variables. So .env, okay, and again .config, because we need the secret. So now that we have that, I can do JWT, so const payload. So once we decode the payload, we'll save it in there. Okay, and this will be JWT, and I'm pretty sure this is all that part part is going to be asynchronous, so I should make this an async function. Await JWT dot verify. Okay, and what we want is the token. So we have the token. We parse that out from the header. Okay, and then we put the secret. So the secret's got to match the one that was used to sign it. Okay, so we'll either get an error or we'll get the payload here. Okay, which it should throw an error if it fails. So we're probably going to want a try catch block here. Try catch error. Okay, and then again res dot status of 400 dot JSON error. Again, we send the error in an object because it's JSON. Okay, let me save this just for it to pretty it up a little bit. Okay. Okay, payload equals await dot JWT dot verify. Then we're going to see if the payload exists. So again, if that fails, I don't think the payload would be undefined. So we're going to say if payload. Okay. And then we'll do something there. Else, if there is no payload, then we're going to do res.status 400 dot JSON error verification failed or no payload. Cool. And then the last thing we have to do is we're going to just sit there and say we're going to add the payload to our request body. So we're going to say rec.body, and you can call it whatever you want. I want to just say payload. Rec.body.payload equals payload. So that data now is going to be available to my routes because the routes will be next, and then that route can then access rec.body.payload going forward. Okay, that's how like rec.body gets added or rec.session gets added. Some piece of middleware adds that property to the object because it occurs before your function occurs. So next would just be next. And then that passes us on to the next thing, which should be your route. There you go. Okay, not super crazy, but you know, there's some stuff going on there. So just again, what does it do? Checks to see if that authorization header is in there. It pulls out the token. It then verifies the token, passes the payload into the request object, then passes you on to the next piece of middleware. Okay, we're going to want to export this function. So module.exports equals auth. Okay, I'm going to import that into server.js. Const auth equals require dot slash auth, and then that should be it because it's an index.js. Okay, so now we're going to create another route, just a root route, just to test this out. So app.use. So this is our root route, and basically this is first going to take the auth middleware. So see, it's going to run through auth first. So before it even actually does the actual handler, auth is going to happen first. You can actually put multiple pieces of middleware before the route actually runs. And actually this should be app.get. App.get. Okay, and then we do our route, rec.res. Okay, and just to show you that it worked, what we're going to do is just do a res.json with rec. Wait, what did I do? Let me go back to the auth for a second. Did I do rec.body? Yeah, I did. I want to do rec.payload. There we go. Why would I want to put it in the body? The body might not exist. Okay, that would cause other errors. Okay. So we're almost done. So let's see here. What did I want to do? Go back to server.js. And I want to send rec.payload. as the response, just so we can confirm that it does exist. Okay, and again, this won't work if I'm not logged in, so we'll test it out. So first, let me just restart the server. And at this point, then you just slap that middleware on any routes that you want protected, or only accessed when logged in. And okay, so let's see here. First, I need to log in. So I already have a username and password that should still be in the database, so I don't need to sign up again. Okay, so there's my token. So I'm going to take my token because I'm going to need that. So I'm going to go over here to my headers, and I'm going to add, here we have an authorization header, good. So I'm going to copy over my new token. Cool. So see, the key is authorization. Here's bearer. So actually, before I do that, let's not add that. So we can see what happens when I try without it. So now I'm going to go to the root, change this to a GET request, and try to do it. See, no authorization header. Okay, now let's try it with the authorization header. Oh, I got some sort of error, so that's not working quite right. Okay. Something went wrong there. 2. Let's see what happens if I try to put in a... Yep, no, something's going on there. So let's go back and check where things went wrong. So it did detect the authorization header, or else it would have just said there's no authorization header again. So let's see where that might have been wrong. Rec.headers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to console.log token. See if we actually extracted the token. Oh, fine. Then I'm going to console.log payload to see if that came out fine. Okay, so for that I'm going to need to restart my server. Okay, now let's try this again. Okay, so I hit send. So that just gives me that error, but let's take a look in the terminal. Okay, so it didn't even get that far. It just stopped. If rec.authorization get 400. Yes, because it didn't trigger one of these, so it triggered an error here. So let's think here. Rec.headers. Let me try something else. Let's just see if it's even getting. Let's do a console.log. Hello. Because we're going to see if it's even actually getting to this first thing. Because if it hits this, but it's not hitting this console log, then that tells me that the problem is here. Okay. So let's see if that does the trick for us. Okay, let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so yeah, it is extracting the token. So we do, oh wait, yeah, no, okay, so I see here. It is hitting this one. So there's this console log. Here's the token. That's this console log. So we're getting the error here is with verify. So let me take a look here. Verify, that is the token. Public key is secret. So then the question becomes, what's payload? But we don't get a console log of payload because it's erroring at that point. So that makes me wonder. Let me log in again. So maybe I copied the token wrong. So auth/login body blah blah error. Can I get auth login? Did my server turn off? Why is that suddenly not working? Oh, because it's a GET, it's a post request. There we go. So here's our token. So let me try this again. Control C. Go back to my headers. Bearer. And make sure I replace this. And make sure to see here this starts right. KQ. Yeah, so that should be the entire thing. So now let's get rid of that. Make this a GET request. And we're still getting an error. JWT, did I bring in JWT? I did. Secret. Oh, I never destructured secret. There we go. Okay. Const secret equals process.env. I never actually took the secret out of the config variable. So I brought the process.env object in, but I never pulled the secret out of it. Okay. So this is why testing is important. Take the time. Okay, Control C, start the server. So now let's try to make this request again. Cool, and now it's working. So see there, it decoded the payload, and then my route returned request.payload, which was exactly this. So this is the username, and notice this other property I never defined as part of the payload. That's the expiration date. So JWT will assign an expiration date for that token, and at that point, if it's past the expiration date, it will fail. You can actually set the time of that expiration if you want. That's something you can read about in the JWT documentation. But with that, you now know how this works. So again, this function, all you do is you just put it on any route you plan on using it. So you would import this function into your controllers, and if that route should not be accessed by not logged in people, you just put this, and it just works. All sorts of nice. How cool is that? Okay, so yeah, that's how you set up JWT authentication from scratch in Express. You can add all sorts of bells and whistles to this if you want, but you guys got the basic idea. Thank you very much. My name is Alex Merced. Have a great day. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow me on all the social medias at Alex Merced Coder. Join the Slack Discord communities over there at Dev Nursery. I'll see you guys later.